Happy marriages can be happier, and shaky marriages can mend. Specific insight and custom codes work. Fix love now. It's the Marriage Code Podcast.
Welcome back. Here we are again. Craig Williams co-hosting with these other incredible hosts. Another episode. Part 2 of our story, the breakup. So we're in the relationship for a year after you've met. A year and a half. So your son is 2 years, close to 2 years old. And I mean, who broke up with who, man?
I'll let her tell her story.
Oh, yeah, this is her turn.
I'm a wise man.
Okay, all right.
I'm going to let my wife
So
tell
Yeah.
I got a phone call
Okay.
one day, and he said he needed to talk to me about something very important, and then he broke up with me over the phone.
Over the phone.
Yeah, he broke up with me over the phone. We were living in 2 different states. I was in Florida, he was in New Jersey.
So it's the long distance thing he
Yeah,
wasn't
the
used to?
long thing. And then his ex-girlfriend. who
Ah,
was 8 years.
so it's another variable in
Yeah,
the...
that was definitely another variable.
Okay.
And then too, he felt like being his background and his girlfriend at the time, his ex-girlfriend at the time, was, you know, he was his first, and then he still was a little bit close-minded because of his past and the expectations they had on him being the firstborn, the apara of the family.
Good job, baby.
And thank you, honey. So for me, I was not, quote unquote, good enough for him. So because I had been married, and his family felt like, oh, she's been married before, she must be a horrible woman because she's been married before. Well, what man would leave a woman, not even knowing the story?
Yeah.
They made this, what man would leave a woman with a son? You know.
Wow.
So
Yeah.
that's how they looked at that, and he bought into it hook, line, and sinker. Well, I mean, but I respected him. I respected him because he told me the truth, you know. And I was like, okay. Well, but because he was so amazing, and I promise you I was so in love with him. So in love with him. But I was also in love with myself, and also in love with Christ. So I felt like, okay, Lord, you showed me this vision, so I already know I'm not worried about anything. So, okay, well, I guess we can still be friends without benefits. Of course. And that part of the story was so funny because I know that he needed to have those experiences. And he mentored me throughout life, and nothing romantic around that time, during that time period. And he had gotten to a space to where he had moved on, and he had gotten serious in another relationship, and he thought he was going to get married to her. And so I went to him. We were having a conversation. I'm like, well, are you sure that this is right for you? And he said, yeah, she's the one. I said, okay, well, when you tell me that in person, then I'll believe you. He was like, okay. And so we met up at an event that we were having. It was a business event. And he told me, he was like, yeah, I found her. She's the one. I was like, wow, I'm really happy for you. And then it's interesting that God didn't show me us at this age being together. He showed me when we were old. So
Gotcha. Well, we got time.
All right. Yeah. I'm like, okay, whatever. So, yeah, it's exactly right. And so it's interesting that I'm like, well, I wish you the best. And no hard feelings, nothing, no upset, no unrest, no crying, no nothing. I just had complete peace. And so then the Lord put in my spirit that I'm supposed to be getting married too.
Wow.
The only person I did not tell was him. Now, and I'm just shortening everything. And I happened to be like in Georgia at the time, and he happened to be at an event, doing an event in North Carolina. And I never am in Georgia but anyway, things everything just worked out to where he happened to text me, because prior to this, he would ask me out, and he and the girl that he said was the one had broken up.
Wow.
But he would ask me out, and I would always tell him no, or not no. I never told you no. I was like, okay, well, let me look at my calendar. All right, and I'm available in July.
Yeah.
And mind you, it's February.
Yeah.
So, but July will come, and I'm like, well, you didn't call me on enough time? Basically, I just kind of, I
Push him
knew
off,
that
yeah.
if I got in his vicinity, that I could not, just women, we just need to use wisdom. Like, do not put yourself in a position to where you're going to get weak. If you know that that guy does it for you, don't get around him, so that you don't have to repent or pray about something later, or, set yourself back. And I knew that if I had done that to myself, I would be set back and I would have to start over. So, finally, since I knew God had put in my spirit that I was getting ready to get married, I decided to be open to him rather than just like standoffish and not responding to his advances. So I then said to him, after he texted me, he said, "Hey, I miss you." I was like, "Okay, I miss you too." He was like, "No, I really miss you." I was like, "No, I really miss you too." And this is the first time I had ever given him any type of opening in all these years.
Yeah.
And so he said, "I have something I need to talk to you about, and it's very important, but it can't be over the phone. It has to be in person." And I was like, "Okay, so where are you?" Mind you, I knew I was getting married. So if you know that something's getting ready to happen for you, and I was dating other guys at the time, and they were like, "Well, who are you marrying?" And I was like, "Well, if you play your cards right, it could be you."
Oh, okay.
So I had, again, I told everybody that except for him. And so he said to me, he was like, "Well, I'm in North Carolina." And I was like, "Well, that's 3 hours away. I just happened to be in Georgia because I was living in Florida at the time." And he was like, "What? You're coming?" He was really excited about it. I was like, "Well, let me pray about it. And if it's supposed to happen," because remember, I had an experience in a marriage before, and I was like, "Lord, I'm never, ever, ever doing marriage without you before. You've got to let me know that this is definitely what you want me to do." So I told him, I said, "Well, let me pray about it, and if it's supposed to happen, then it'll happen tomorrow. I'll leave here at 4:00 and I'll meet you. I'll be there by, And so the next day, I was like, "I'll hear it in his voice." There would be some hesitation. We spoke, no hesitation. And then immediately he said, "What are you doing? You're not on the road yet. Don't you know this could be your future husband you're talking to?" And I'm like, oh my God, my girlfriend told him. I was thinking, I was like, why did he say that? He had never spoken to me in that way. So I called my girlfriend, who he was visiting and doing an event for, her and her husband. And so she was like, "Girl, I did not tell him anything. Do you want him to think you're crazy?" I wouldn't tell him that. So anyway, long story short, I was like, "Okay, God, when we see each other, if this is not meant to be, then it's going to be awkward. I'm going to feel weird. He's going to feel weird." But when I finally made it to North Carolina that night, we saw each other and we embraced, and we were lost in time. I saw him and I ran to him and I just jumped on him.
Inseparable.
And it was just amazing. And he told me, he was like, "Listen," that night he told me, he was like, "You have a week." He was like, "I don't know who you're dating and what you're doing with your life in terms of relationships, but you have a week to get rid of whomever you're dating and let them know that you're getting married." And he said, "If you accept my invitation, you won't recognize your life. The next 12 months of your life, you won't even recognize." And he did not lie. He completely changed everything. It was just amazing. He planned out the next 12 months of my life. And he showed me what a man should be like. And I was totally blown away. Every first, he introduced it to me. And
Wow. I don't know if I want to hear your side yet, because we're gonna have to revisit your side on that. But you talked about what a man is supposed to.
Yeah.
There's an idea, from my understanding, your father wasn't present.
Mm-hmm.
And your father wasn't present. Mm-hmm. And was the basis of what you thought a man was supposed to be outside of him being present and his intention? Where did you get the idea of what that was supposed to look like?
Being intentional. I mean, I knew that God had a purpose for me in the love and in family and marriage. So he and I, it was interesting, we compared notes later about our life. We both each went to marriage counseling. You know, he was the only person there that wasn't married. I studied, I had brochures, I had books on what successful marriages look like. And we would always, separate from each other, you know, before we were even together, get around older people and married people like, hey, how'd you make it work? Or what happened? Or like people who did make it work, like how'd you mess it up? You know? So we studied and we were prepared for what God was bringing us to.
Awesome. Wow. So obviously, since that's your version of the breakup, we don't need to speak anymore.
I'm good. Bro.
Anything about the breakup?
I'm a wise man.
Okay. So concluding the conversation about your story, which of course is still evolving and becoming every day, what would you say to the audience right now in regards to pursuit in relationship, pursuit into marriage? You know, I think relationship, you have to start with something, and of course it starts with a relationship of some sort, whether it's a friendship or a romantic, you know, and it usually starts with a friendship anyway. So what would you say the most important variable of your journey coming together is in building that building block? What is that building block?
I would say do the work. If I was to give advice, you know, people say, hey, what would you say to your younger self?
Yeah.
All right? What would I say to my single self? Do the work.
Yeah.
And when I say do the work, most people probably, their brain might go in a ton of different directions, but the specific work I'm referring to is on yourself. You see, most people have it mixed up. When it comes to marriage, they think it's about your partner. It's about yourself. It's about you. And who you are, and all the philosophies, all the things that you've experienced, all the good, all the luggage, all the blessings, all the curses, you bring all of that with you. So doing the work is in starting to unpack some of that garbage, starting to figure out why I am this way, let go of certain things. She said it. I was the single guy at the marriage counseling session. Interesting. Why is a single guy at the marriage counseling session? He's doing the work. Yeah.
Intention. She also said earlier, the intention, putting the intention behind it. And you both were around what you wanted to experience and be a part of. You just didn't think it was going to haphazardly happen. It just was going to wake up one day and boom.
Right.
Even though you had those dreams, those daydreams that one day you'd be old together and whatnot. That's beautiful.
To grow into that.
Yeah, because I think the biggest thing, a lot of people take someone to the altar to try to alter them. And you can't change what's out there. You only change what's in you. And so when you realize, and you talk to people, the longer they've been married, the more they tell you it's about who I chose to be in the marriage. Not what they did, not how they wronged me, not how they failed me. Because if in case no one's told you, your spouse will fail you. In case no one's told you, you will fail your spouse.
Amen. Yeah.
And that will not end until the day you die.
Yeah.
So if that's the case, then what does the equipping really look like? It should be to prepare you for that process.
Yeah, the human condition.
Do the work on you.
Wow. Anything else we want to speak on to the breakup?
Just not necessarily to the breakup, but just to, piggyback really off of what my husband said, because there's a lot of dysfunction that happens in relationships. And most people, they get in a relationship looking for the person to make what's wrong in them right.
Right.
So when he says do the work, that is so important. Like there should be that, which is why we created Covenant Marriages Academy, as a matter of fact, because we feel like you need to go through an academy before you go and mess up because it's not just you messing up this person. You're messing up the children that come out of the relationship. I mean, it's a whole big old dysfunction, a power dysfunction when you don't do it the right way. And not being afraid to be vulnerable when you do find that spouse, not being afraid to open yourself up and realize that after you have done the work, there's still some things that you can't fix. So God has put you with that person, and that person is supposed to bring a certain level of healing to you, and vice versa.
That's right.
A lot of people think that when they get married, that, oh, well, I'm just, she's trying to change me, he's trying to change me. No, it's not. We are supposed to evolve. We're supposed to grow. We're supposed to get better. If you think about it, it's the only arrangement that people want to come to and stay the same. But if you're in business together, then you better get better, or else we're probably going to not be in business for long.
Awesome.
Or if you got a cell phone, you better upgrade the software. Everybody gets better with everything but marriage.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So the upgrade, huh?
Right.
Awesome. Thanks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
Marriages need lifelong learning. Visit www.covenantmarriageacademy.com. Learn, see, and grow in marital bliss. We have video help, counseling appointments available, and more. The Ndus have solutions specifically for you. Fix love now.